All right, choosing an MBA program, part two. We are going to talk about some of the other aspects beyond just the full-time, part-time debate, some of the things like GMAT and geography, and also rankings as well. So stay tuned. Just a brief introduction. My name is Alex. I'm currently doing private consulting, a little bit of private equity work. I have worked for multiple large corporations, and I have finished my MBA a couple of years ago. Another thing that the better MBA programs are going to offer and either require or uh, just organize in general is they'll have a global immersion program. So what this is, you'll go on a trip to a foreign country and get to visit a whole bunch of companies there and see how they operate. A lot of the places people will go are China, Singapore, Eastern Europe, Czech Republic. I went to South Africa. It's worthwhile. You usually get credits for going on the trip, and uh, they often put it right up against spring break, so you can go do something fun right afterward. I think that's well worthwhile, and all better MBA programs are going to have some opportunity like that. The next major aspect about an MBA program, typically I would go with the network and brand of that program. And what does that mean exactly? Well, in general, who are you going to meet there? And in your program, who are you going to be your classmates and that are going to graduate and then be your network as they all go off to work for organizations and companies throughout the world? Uh, those people will be contacts for you when you get out there. So the better the program is, the better the reputation. That's going to help you have better contacts as you grow in your career. One of my customers is now was somebody I met through business school, and he's now the CFO of a small company. Another point on network and brand, it has to do a lot with who recruits at those schools. Uh, this is something you should really look at before you decide to go there. Look at which companies are hiring students from that program. Where are those students going to work? That'll usually be published in some sort of employment statistics report by the university. Those companies that are hiring your potential classmates and potential alumni, uh, they are going to, those are going to be the companies where you'll most likely be working because that MBA program has an ongoing relationship with those companies. So those companies come back every year to recruit and interview and hire more students. A big point that a lot of people look at when they're applying to MBA programs is where the school is ranked. So everyone wants to go to a well-ranked school, but there's a lot of different ranking systems out there. So the big one that most people look at first, I think, is U.S. News. Uh, that's sort of the go-to, I think, for most people applying to business school. Um, and so they'll have rankings for the schools. But it's important to look at what concentrations each school has. Different schools are really good at different things. Some schools, which might be ranked like 30 overall, are top five in one of their concentrations, like supply chain or something. Other schools uh, don't even have the same concentrations that some do, right? So some might just do management. Some schools require you to concentrate in something, some don't. Those are things to consider when you're looking at the programs. Make sure they have what you would like to study. Another thing that comes up that people don't realize, I think, is that you will learn a lot from your classmates as well as your professors. So when you're this also comes back to brand. If your school has a better brand, you're going to be going to school with a higher uh, class of people potentially in that they have typically have better experience. So this is an important factor because you're going to work on a ton of group projects with these people, and you're going to learn a lot from them and all their work experience, as well as all the experiences your professors will share with you. Another major consideration when you're choosing an MBA program is geography. What city is it in? Do you want to live there? If you're going full time, you most likely don't already live there. Maybe you will, but regardless, if you're going to live in a new place for 2 years, it better be someplace you'll be okay with. And if it's a big city, there's a solid chance you might end up living there after you finish your MBA program. So can take geography into account when you're looking at schools. Consider, where in the country do I want to live? If you want to live in Boston, if you want to live in LA, maybe you want to live in Miami. There's a lifestyle aspect to it too, beyond going to school. Maybe you want the college experience and you want to go move to Penn State and live there in their college town named State College and do the tailgating and the Friday night, Thursday night, Saturday night drinking, all that kind of thing. So consider geography. It's a major aspect of when you're looking at schools. When it comes to GMAT scores, make sure you're being realistic. Apply to a wide range of schools. Pick a stretch goal. Pick a backup school. GMAT is not your whole application. When I was applying, my research told me that it was about 10% of your application, but I've since heard that it's more. Maybe things have changed, but maybe it always was more. There is, of course, all your essays and your work experience and your interviews, but GMAT is still a major portion of your application. Consider schools where you're potentially going to get in. If your GMAT score is 590 and you're applying to a school that has a middle 80% of 680 to 740 and their average is 720, it might not be realistic to go there. So keep that in mind. GMAT is important, and you don't want to waste too much money applying to schools that you have no shot at getting into. So the other thing, of course, when you're choosing your MBA program, it is worth keeping in mind how much money they cost. Some cost a heck of a lot more than others. The first program I was accepted to gave me a little bit of money, and I was all jazzed because I got into school, all right. But then later on, I got accepted to another school, and they were offering me a full scholarship, a monthly stipend, and healthcare. So that was a huge difference in how much they were offering me. It was the first school, which had offered me money, still cost 5 times as much as this other school, which had offered me a much better deal. You can negotiate, but regardless, that is a huge difference in terms of what your experience will be and also your return on investment potentially. So keep in mind what kind of scholarships and money programs can offer. All right, to wrap up this video, which I hope you found informative, we have a Jim Rohn quote. It goes, "If you really want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse." So take care, everybody. Have a good one.